I'm Autumn Rook, and I teach in the Organizational Leadership Department. And I'm going to discuss a little bit today about using Blackboard Retention Center. But my big question for you is why not use Blackboard Retention Center? It's there, it's already set up. You don't have to do anything but just go in and start using it. So what it does for you, it allows you to track students' progress and activity using warning rules that you can set up, or there are already some default ones set up as well, to notify you when students are missing work, underperforming grade-wise, failing to access their course, and so on. Again, there's no setup, and it's found under the evaluation on the side of your Blackboard, and I'll also show you 2 ways to access it here in a minute. So when you open it up, you're going to see a risk table that has all the students and any kind of alerts that they have if they're missing, if they're not meeting any of the guidelines. You'll also see a table containing your course activity, and then you'll see a list of students who you've chosen to monitor specifically, and then any other alerts that you've chose to monitor. So again, like I said, you don't have to do anything. Just go in and start using it today. If you were to start using it today, these are the default rules that have been set up. There are 4 types of rules that you can set up. The first is the activity rule. It's defaulted to if their activity in the last week is 20% below the course average, then they'll get a little alert. There's the access rule. So if they haven't accessed it in more than 5 days, they'll get an alert. Default grade rule, if their grade is 25% below the class average, they'll get one. Now also I want to note, it doesn't have to be set as a certain percentage below the class average. You can also just set it if it's a certain grade, that it will give them alert. And then the missing deadline rule, so if they've missed here any deadlines at all, they'll get an alert, but you can change that to 2 deadlines, or you can allow them to miss it by a couple of days. Again, but this is the default that's set in it. These can all be changed and modified using the Customize option. Here's what the table will look like when we go in. I'll show you a real one here in just a second. But you can see the students are listed there, and if they have any kind of risk factors, they'll have a little red dot in their box for those, and there's those 4 that have been set up. So let's go look at a class and play around it a little bit. Okay, this is a class that's just been set up for training purposes only, so no real students or anything. So there's 2 ways to access it. You can go up here by your name in the top right-hand corner and drop that down, and the little arrows that go up and down, that's the retention center. So you click on that, it would show you over here on the left all your classes. As you can see, I'm only in 1 class for this training. But if I had multiple classes I was teaching, they would all show up right here, and I could just click on them, and it would change the right-hand side of my screen to match that particular class. And you can see here's the breakdown of the risk. I have 4 students that are missing deadlines, 1 that has a grade issue, and 4 that have not logged in 5 days. So down here, it'll show you the details of the settings. And then if I want to see who those specific courses people are, I can click on See More Details, and it will bring me to the table that goes with that specific course and all the details. Now I can also access this table by just going into the course and then going down to Evaluation and Retention Center, and it will bring up this same table. Now I'm not really sure why there's just 1 red dot in the middle. Again, this is a practice course, but there should be red dots in the boxes if they are not meeting each of those different requirements. You can see my students are listed here. I have this bar across the top, which is the risk bar. Right now it just shows me that I have 4 students at risk. If I click on it, you can see it'll break down what their risks are. So there are 3 different ones here that they're not meeting. And so I can click on that particular bar. It'll tell me that I have 4 students who have missed deadlines. Now, if I want to contact all these students and say, hey, I noticed you're missing some deadlines. Is there something going on? Or, I just want you to be aware that you're probably losing some points. And, if you can get those in on time, maybe just a little encouragement, or, the fact that you noticed that will probably, maybe nudge them along to get a little bit better on that. And you can just notify them by clicking here and hitting students, and it will automatically send an email to those particular students who are missing deadlines. If I want to know who they are, I can click on the 4 and it'll bring up their names. If I want to know, what deadlines they're missing, I can click on this one and it'll show me the details of what it is. I have found that this has actually helped me one time. I had one that every student was missing a deadline. It's because I had a wrong date from a previous semester in there. So it'll show all your students are missing those, so that may help you catch some of those dates maybe that you haven't gotten fixed from that. I'll go back here, and again, we can click on any of these and see who those students are. We can also click on any individual student as well and see how they're doing in each of the 4 factors that have been set up, and again, right now as defaults. If I want to monitor them specifically, let's say for academic early alerts, or I just know they might be struggling and I need to kind of keep up with how they're doing, you can click on the monitor, and it will make it, if it's a yellow star, that means they are being monitored. If it's not yellow, then they're not being. You can notify that specific student. You can also add a note. If you had a conversation with them or you sent them an email, it's a good place to kind of keep up with that you have contacted them, or maybe there's a reason that they were late or on that assignment or something like that. You can add it in there to help you keep up with it. Back here again, you can see that over here on the right are the students that I have chosen to monitor. If I don't want to monitor them anymore, I can just click on the yellow star and it'll go away. If I want to add them back, I can click back on their name again in the main table and then click on that star and it'll add them back over. So you can see it'll show you each of the 4 criteria and how they're doing. Now let's say I don't like the criteria that's set up as the default. I can go up to Customize and I can change those. You can see there's actually a 5th one here that's been set up, but it's not being shown in the table, and that's an option you can have as well. So if I want to edit this, I'll just go in here and edit, and you can see I can change the name of it if I want, whether or not I want it in the table, and then I can set my criteria here if I want it to be a certain number of weeks or whatever. So again, I can change that. I can also, on the grade rule, you can see here it has if their grade gets below a certain percentage of the average grade in the class. I can also say if their grade gets below a certain value. So if I want it to be, if they get below a certain percent in the class, like a 75% or something, it will give me an alert as well. So it doesn't have to be based on the average when it comes to the grade aspect. I can also add new ones. So I can create a rule, and there, again, like I said, there's 4 types. I just go in there and create whatever rules that I want and show them in the table, or I don't have to. The last thing that Retention Center does, it gives you kind of a little overview of yourself down where it says your course activity. So it'll show you anything you need to grade. If you click on something down here, it will take you to needs grading. And so you need to grade those assignments. You can go in and do that. It will also tell you your activity on discussion boards, anything like that. If you can post an announcement from there, it'll tell you if you've added content to the course recently as well. So it's just kind of a little quick update for you to kind of see what kind of things you've done in the class as well. So this is Retention Center. I would encourage you to try to use it, at least just to kind of see where your students are, and just an email from this system with just some kind of little, I noticed this is going on. I noticed your grade is below the average. Just a nudge from us, and know that somebody is watching and cares can make all the difference in the world, and maybe getting a student to perform better and retaining them in your class. So good luck, and I hope that you will start using Retention Center.